Creative, welcome to class. So in this class we'll be learning how to do a dart manipulation bow. Okay, so this dart manipulation is going to give you like a rope that you're going to tie any style that you want to tie it. Okay, so now the first thing you need in doing your dart manipulation is to get a basic bodice. Okay, so if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice, I'll be putting the link in the description box below, so you go on there to click on the link so that you'll be able to learn how to prepare this basic bodice. Sorry, this was a mistake for my pen. Okay, so this is not among it. Now after getting your basic bodice, the next thing you want to do is to alter the neckline if you wish. Okay, altering the neckline is your choice, and if you wish not to alter the neckline, you can also use like a turtleneck, or you use your normal 3x3 neckline. So I would like to alter mine a bit. The basic neckline here I have is 3x3, so I want to alter it by maybe 0.75 on the shoulder. Then I'll also come down by 0.75 on this neckline here. Okay, so then I'll use my French curve to connect the lines like this. So because I have altered the shoulder here, I will also have to alter the shoulder at my back. So your alteration depends on you, any style you want to make your neckline. If you want it to be a V neckline and any other neckline of your choice. So I'm only just going to alter the neckline of the shoulder part of the back. I will not be altering the depth. Okay, so I'll just still be working with my 1 inch depth I have in my center back. Okay, so this is my center back, this is my center front. Okay, so after altering the neck, the next thing I want to do is to get my facing. Okay, so to get a facing, I'll be taking from the shoulder about 2 inches, taking 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, like so. Then I'll connect the lines. So I'll do the same thing here, 2 inches, okay, 2 inches, 2 inches, then I'll connect the line. So after doing this, the next thing I want to do is to use a tracing wheel to trace out the neckline. So I'll take a fresh pattern paper just like this, then I would pin this part down. Okay, you must make sure that the paper is straight at the center front. Just pin it down so that it doesn't move while you do your tracing and all. Alright, so before you do your tracing, you note that this is the center front, this is the neckline, and this is the shoulder area. So shoulder, center, back, and this is the neckline area. So I'll be using my tracing wheel to trace out this neckline, and I'll trace out the facing, okay, which is 2 inches round. You have to trace it out like this. Okay, so I'll continue tracing. When I'm done, I'll take out this pattern paper and I'll show you what it looks like. So creative, so after tracing the facing on another paper, so I used my marker to mark it out, and I used the scissors to cut it out. So this is for the front and this is for the back. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is our dart transfer. Okay, because we are doing a dart manipulation. Dart manipulation is the act of moving your dart around your bodice. Okay, so this dart will be using it to form a rope. Okay, that after you tie that rope, it will give you fitting in the bust area. A dart manipulation outfit must pass through the apex. This is our apex here. That is the nipple point. Okay, so before you can say an outfit is a dart manipulation outfit, the style line must pass through the apex. Okay, this is where we'll make it come back together and still give you that fitting that you need. Okay, so what I'll do, the first thing I want to do is to open up the part, this line that is sharing the front and the back. I'll cut it out like this, so I'll have my front and my back separated. Okay, so after that, the next thing I'll do is to transfer my dart. So I'll be transferring my bust dart to the waist. Okay, so I'll cut out the waist dart first. So you have to cut out your dart and you should stop at the nipple point area. Okay, so after doing that, you close your bust dart. You close your bust dart like so. So after closing, you use a tape to tape it down. Use a tape to tape it down. So you would notice that by the side, after taping down, you find out that it is not aligning anymore at the side. Okay, so what you do, you align it, try to align it together with your French comb by the side. Okay, so you have to do this so that the side can align. So after that, the next thing I want to cut is the armhole. The armhole, the neckline, the side. Like I'll cut out the parts that I want to use in my sewing. So whatever your neckline is, you cut it out right now. So I'll also cut out the side. Okay, so this is what we have here. So if you are good with this opening, like if you don't want your rope to be big, okay, you just want to use the opening that you have here. Okay, so I have about 4 inches opening here. Okay, after transferring this bust dart to the waist, the opening here I have 4 inches. So it means when I do my rope and I fold it into 2, I'll be having 2 inches as the rope belt. Okay, so but then I would like my rope to be bigger than 4 inches. So what I'll do, I'll slash open. Okay, just like a slash and spread method. So I'll be slashing open to the bust area like this. So you can take it upwards anyhow you want to take it. It depends on you how you want to slash and spread. Okay, so I would like to slash and spread open a bit like this. Let's say to about 5.5. Okay, I think I would prefer 5.5 as the belt. So after that, the next thing you want to do is to place a pattern paper underneath. You have to place the pattern paper underneath. So you place a pattern paper underneath and you spread open your dart to the number that you want. So if I'm using 5.5, it means when I fold my belt into 2, I'll be having 2.75 as my belt wideness. Okay, so I'll just be doing this. So you must make sure that you place your pattern in a straight line. Okay, so what you have from this starting of the paper is what you should have here. So what I have here is 2.2 and what I have here is 2.5. So it means the pattern placement is not straight. So here 2.2, 2.2, so it is straight now. So after that, I'll use my tape to also measure again. Okay, you know, after shifting it has moved, and then so this is 5.5. I'll just mark it so that I'll know where it is. So after marking, you can use a tape to tape it down. You can use a tape to tape it down like this. So you can make your belt wider than this, you can make it your normal dart, depends on what you want. Okay, so let your creativity guide you, like let what you want be your guide. So I'll tape it like this. Okay, so after doing that, I will extend the belt down. I will extend my belt down here. So from here, 5.5. After extending this part, I measured 5.5 so that I can get this part straight. Okay, so this is what I have, and I'll cut out. Okay, so this is what we have. Then when we close the belt, when you want to tie your belt or when you want to sew the belt, this is what you have. Something like this. Something like, so you can see when you hold your belt, you'll be having your bust area forming perfectly, like fitting you. Okay, so you can actually direct it to the center, front, to the side, anywhere you want your belt to face. So I'll be extending the belt on my fabric, okay, because I would want my belt to be longer than this. So you can extend it on your fabric. So I'll also be cutting out the back. I'll be cutting out the back. So I am done cutting the back. So I cut the video in order not to make the videos too long. Okay, so you can see that the sides is aligning perfectly. So this is the front and this is the back. This is what we have. So and this is our facing for the front and facing for the back. Okay, so the next thing I want to go to is to cut the down part. So I'll be cutting the down part first before cutting the upper part. So the down part, I want a 180-degree flay for the down part. So we'll be learning how to cut a 180-degree flay. Okay, so the 180-degree flay will be going around the waist. So you can, if you want it fuller, you can cut 180-degree flay in two places. Okay, so that's if you want it fuller. Okay, so for me, I want just a 180-degree flay. So the formula to calculate a 180-degree flay is 3.142. So, and my waist measurement is 26 inches. Okay, so now I'll say 3.142 divided by 26. 3.142, or let's say 26 divided by 3.142. Please, if you have a calculator, you have to calculate. That is 26 divided by 3.142. I got 8.2 as my radius. Okay, so now let's say you want two 180-degree, like you want it fuller than mine. What you will do, you will first of all divide your waist by 2, which is 26 divided by 2, which will give you 13. Then you will now say 13 divided by 3.142, which will give you 4.1. Then you will cut 2 of this flay, okay, with this radius. Okay, so creative. So my waist is 26, okay, which after dividing by 3.142 I got 8.2. okay, so and I said if your waist is 26 and you want to cut 180 degrees, so if you are cutting 180 degrees, that means you say 26 divided by 2, which gives me 13, and 13 divided by 3.142 gives me 4.1. so it means you'll be cutting 2 of 180 degree flare with the radius 4.1. okay, 8.2 you'll be cutting 180 degree flare. I hope you understand. So now my waist, my length is the length of my gown is 61. So 61 minus 17, which is my front length, I got 44 inches. okay, so now I will say 44 plus 8.2, which is my radius. 44 plus 8.2, which is my radius, is plus 8.2 is 52.2, is equal to 52.2 inches. okay, so I'll be folding my fabric in 52.2 inches. So now I'll be doing a small paper illustration because, you know, while folding on the table, the outfit will be too big for the table that I might not be able to cover everything. So let's say this is my material here. Let's assume that this paper is my material. So what I will be doing, I'll be folding, I'll measure 52 inches now, plus 1 inch for sewing allowance, that's 53.2. So I'll be measuring 53.2 like this, and then I'll fold it. I'll measure 53.2 on the yardage parts of my fabric, then I'll fold it like this. So after folding it like this, so let's assume that this is my 52. okay, so I will mark what I have here, which is the 52 all round. 52. So we are assuming, okay, this is my fabric. okay, so I'll be marking the 52 all round like this. okay, so now my radius is 8.2. you can see the way I folded my fabric. This is how to cut 180 degree. You fold the yardage part like this, okay, into 2 with the number that you want. okay, 53.2. okay, so now you measure 53.2 like this and fold it into 2. okay, then you start marking. I hope you understand. So now after that, I'll take my radius. So my radius is 8.2. okay, so I'll be marking 8.2 now. So I'll be using 3.5 here. Sorry, I'll be using here because it's just a small paper illustration. So let's assume this is my 8.2. Let's assume that this is my 8.2. Then I'll mark it out like this. okay, so this is my radius 8.2, and this is my length 44, plus the 1 inch, which is 45 inches here, 45.2. okay, so this is what I'll have. Then I'll cut it out. So in this way, the joining will only be at the center back, and this is going to go around your waist. Please don't add extra seam allowance to the waist while you cut your radius, because the fabric is going to stretch and it will bring out sewing allowance automatically for you. So don't add anything to your radius while you cut. Use the exact. okay, so now this is my 8.2 radius and this is my length. That is if I'm using a 180 degree. Now if I'm using just one 180 degree, now if I'm going to be using two 180 degree, which is my waist divided by 2, then divided by 3.142. My waist is 26 divided by 2 gives me 13. 13 divided by 3.142 give me 4.1. So what I'll do, I'll fold what I got like this into 2 with the radius that I have. Then that is after adding my 4.2, which is my radius, with my length 45.2. okay, so I'll get let's just calculate. So 45.2 plus my radius 4.2 gives me, sorry, 45.2 plus 4.2 gives me 49.4. okay, so that is if I'm making 180 degree in two places. I hope you understand. Normally my length was 44, but I added, my length was 44, okay, after minusing my front length from it. So now plus the 1 inch, okay, gives me 45. Yes, plus the 1 inch give me 45. So 45 plus 4.2 gives me 49.2. I'm sorry, that was a mistake. 49.2. So now let's assume that I have folded my 49.2 into 2 like this. Then I'll mark. Let's assume, because what should be here is 49.2, then you fold it into 2 like this. Okay, then you mark what you have all through. Let's assume that this is what we have. Okay, this is 9.5. So I'm assuming, okay, with just a small paper illustration. This is not my real measurement. This is just a small practical, okay, because the fabric will be too big for the table, so that you'll be able to understand what I did. Okay, so after marking my 49.2 all round, this is my 49.2, I'll come into my radius and I'll mark my 4.2. And let's assume this is our 4.2, then we connect the radius. Okay, then I cut it out and I cut out the radius. The radius becomes smaller. So I'll use this one to cut another one. I will fold my fabric again into 2. I'll fold my fabric into 2 like this. So I will place this one like this, and I will use it. That's if you want your plate to be fuller than mine. You place it like this, then you use it to cut your radius. So this one I have 2 180 degree. So I will have a joining in the center front. You join the center front and then your center back will go to the zipper. But note, when you join, you open press, it will not show because the fullness will cover your joining. So don't be scared, it's not going to show. Then you have another joining at your center back. So this is the 180 degree that is going through without any joining, and this is the 2 180 degree that has joining in the center front and the center back. So this becomes fuller. This is fuller than this. Okay, so but I'll be working with this part. I hope you understand. So let me place my fabric on the table, then I'll chop and show you what it looks like. Okay, so creative, so I basically folded my fabric to 54. Okay, after getting 54, I marked out 53.2 on the fabric. Okay, so I marked it round. You know, the fabric is kind of big, and then you might not get it right on the table. Okay, so then I have marked my radius from this upper part. I marked my radius 8.2 all round. Okay, so from this upper part I took 53.3 down. Okay, so now I'll be cutting out the radius. Okay, so if you follow the illustration I did earlier, you'll be able to get this perfectly without any problems. So I'll be cutting out my radius like so. Okay, so I'll take out my pins and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so creative, so I've done taking out my pins, so I'll measure what I have. So I actually wanted 26, which is 13 plus the sewing allowance, which I didn't add on the radius because I know that after cutting my radius I will have sewing allowance. So please don't add anything. Sometimes I reduce from the radius because it's always very big. So what I have here now is 28. It means I have extra 2 inches instead of 1 inch. Okay, so if you are doing yours, you can actually minus from it, or I can just use that opportunity to trim out this selvage I have here, this part that has this punch hole here. I'll trim it out, okay, so that then I'll be left with 1 inch, just 1 inch on the waistline. Okay, so this is how the flay looks like. Okay, so I'll just keep this aside, okay, and then I'll be weaving with my serger machine. So I'll be going to cutting the upper part now. Okay, so creative, so I folded the yardage parts of my fabric into two by the length 60. Okay, so I folded this part, this is where the yardage part is, into two by length 60, right? So then I placed my pattern at the center front on fold. Yes, this is the center front. On fold means there will not be any seam joining at the center part of the outfit. Okay, so now I added half an inch on the neckline, on the shoulder, on the armhole. By the side I added 1.5 by the side. Now by this down part here I added half an inch, here I added half an inch, then for the belt I added half an inch, all straight down to the length 60. So my belt will belong to the length of this fabric. Okay, so now at this point here, I'm going to notch. Okay, so but then I'll make it visible when I cut. So I'll just be cutting out, this fabric. Okay, before you cut you also need pins that will help secure the fabric. Okay, so creative, I'm done cutting out the outfit. So I want to show you something. Look at this part here where the belt is. Okay, so I just put a mark. I made a mark here and here, okay, because I'm going to notch this part. So you need to notch it so that you'll be able to sew the belt and the outfit correctly. So I'll notch like this. Okay, to that point. Okay, so I'll also notch at this point. Okay, so you can see the way I notch. I didn't notch straight, I notched slanted like this from this angle and this angle. See it here, notch to where the pattern paper is. That is the right way to notch. Okay, so now I'll be cutting the back, then I'll cut the facing. So this is my back. I have added half an inch to the down part, added 1.5 to the side, 1.5 to the side. Armhole, I added half an inch, shoulder half an inch, neckline half an inch, and the center back I added half an inch. So I'll just be cutting out. So I'll cut out off camera so that the video will not be too long. Okay, so creative, so I'm done cutting out the back. So this is what it looks like. So I have the center front here, the facing. So I basically placed the facing on fold here and I added half an inch all around, then I cut it out. So I did the same thing here. Okay, so but then I'll be notching the center back so that I will not mix it up with the shoulder. So I'll notch the center back. So the center front here is on fold, so I'll know where the center front is, and then I'll just notch the neckline area. So the next thing I want to go to is cutting the sleeve. So let's get started. Okay, so creative, so I'm here with my basic sleeve. So you can just draft your basic sleeves. So now I'll be cutting out a band because I want it to have small fullness at the down part of the sleeve. So I'll be cutting out a band of about 2 inches that I'll be using to control the fullness. Okay, so I'll just cut the band like so. So this is my center front. Okay, this is the upper part. Okay, so that in case if I want to cut, I'll know that I'll put here on fold. So this is the band I'll be using to control back my sleeve. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is to fold my fabric. So I basically folded the length of the fabric into 2, then I folded it into 2 again like this. Okay, so I folded it to about 13 inches. Let's say, okay, 14 inches. Okay, so then I'll put my sleeve like this. So I'm also going to be adding about 3 inches, okay, 3.5 to the down part because I want it to puff at the down part a bit. So I'll just pin this part. I'll pin here. Okay, I'll just pin in the side because I'll be doing like a slash and spread. So after that, I will be sharing the sleeve into 2 for my slash and spread. From this part here, I'll share the sleeve into 2 like so. Then I'll cut it out. When I get here, I'll open it out to this part so that I'll be able to do my slash and spread. Okay, so after doing that, then I'll basically open up my sleeve like this. Okay, then I'll use a pin to secure it down. Okay, so after using the pin to secure it down, I'll add half an inch to the sleeve upper part. To the side, I'll be adding 1 inch. To the side of the sleeve, I'll add 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay. Okay, so this part I'll need to take it down a bit because I need the 1 inch to get down this part. I think I'll just take it down. Okay, so I'll use a ruler to connect to see how it fits. Okay, so the ruler is no long enough. I'll be adding to the ruler like this. Okay, so that I'll be able to get a straight line down to the slip ending point. Okay, so before I take my slash and spread like so. Okay, so after I do that, the next thing I will be marking is 3.5. 3.5. Okay, so from here I would check what it gives me. So I have 25, then I would also mark it here 25. I'll mark here 25, and I'll mark here 25. Okay, so this is what it gives me. Okay, so it means I can actually use this line. Okay, so after marking 25 all around, so I got this shape. Okay, so it means I can actually take my 1 inch down like so. Okay, because this is what 25 gives me. Then I'll cut out okay, so after cutting out, it means I'll be gathering this point like so. Okay. Okay, so I'll just be gathering the down part. Okay, so my band. Okay, so this is the band. So I will be cutting the band on my fabric. So you can do any sleeve of your choice. Okay, my choice is different from yours. So I'll be putting this part on fold. Then I'll be using a pin to secure. Okay, so I'll be adding 1 inch here. I'll be adding 1 inch. I'll be adding half an inch to the upper part. And I'll be adding half an inch to the down part. Okay, so we are done cutting. So the next thing I'll be doing is to add the necessary interfacing. So I'll be adding interfacing here, okay, so that it is not compulsory. Okay, you can as well not add an interfacing here. Okay, so it's just your choice. So I'll also be adding interfacing on the facings. Okay, I'll be adding interfacing, then I'm going to overlock the necessary parts that I need to overlock in the outfit. Okay, so see you in the sewing class.